So this is how I solved problem number 3 for homework 10. We have the problem y double prime minus y equals e to the x. Step 1 is to make sure it's in standard form, which we can already check. For step 2, we're going to go ahead and rewrite it with our m's. So of course we have m squared minus 1 equals 0, which factors to be m plus 1, m minus 1. So then we have m equals positive 1 and m equals negative 1. So now we can write our FSH. We have e to the x, comma e to the negative x. And now we can find our y of c, which equals c1 e to the x plus c2 e to the negative x. And we're going to go ahead and need to save this for later. Now step 4, that's where we're going to start to find our y sub p. So y sub p is equal to v y prime, which is equal to v e to the x. Or y sub p is equal to v y1, which is equal to v e to the x. Because we just found our y sub 1, which is right here, which is e to the x. So now we're going to find y prime of p, which is just chain rule. So we're going to do v prime e to the x plus v e to the x. We can go ahead and factor out an e to the x. We get v prime plus v times e to the x. And now we're going to go ahead and find our y double prime of p, which is more chain rule. It's v double prime e to the x plus v prime e to the x. So plus v prime e to the x plus v e to the x. We can go ahead and add and factor out another e to the x. We get v double prime plus 2v prime plus v all multiplied by e to the x. So now we have our y double prime of p, our y prime of p, and we're going to plug those back into our original equation up here with the y double prime and the y. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite those into the original down here. That's going to give us v double prime plus 2v prime plus v multiplied by e to the x minus ve to the x, which is equal to e to the x. If you look here, these are going to cancel out, and then this is going to cancel out with the rest of the e to the x's on this side. So if we rewrite, we'll be left with v double prime plus 2v prime is equal to 1. So now we're going to have to do a substitution in order to solve. If we say z is equal to v prime, then of course z prime is equal to v double prime. So now we have z prime plus 2z is equal to 1, which matches this up here. And if we solve, we find that z is equal to 1/2. So if z is equal to v prime, in order to find v, we have to find the integration of z, which we just said is 1/2. So the integration of 1/2 dx, which of course equals 1/2 x, which is equal to our v, and our yp is equal to v e to the x. Go ahead and plug in our v, which we just found is 1/2 x, and we get 1/2 x e to the x. So that's our yp. And for the solution, y equals yc plus yp. We found our yc all the way up here, and now we're going to plug in both. Equals a c1 e to the x plus c2 e to the negative x plus 1/2 x e to the x. And that is how I solved number 3 for homework 10. Thank you.